This is the Reporters Notebook, hosted by Elaine Shein.
Welcome to this entry in the DTN Reporters Notebook. DTN Senior Ag Meteorologist Bryce Anderson joins us today as we look at what's happening with crop conditions and progress. Bryce, it looks like the condition of corn has gone down slightly. What has caused that?
Well, there's been a little bit of dryness, Elaine, during the past week, and that has brought some, I'm not going to say deterioration, I know I said the word, but it brought the condition ratings down slightly. We're still looking at the good to excellent totals for corn into the low 70s, about 73%. For this season, for this time of the season, the crop condition ratings really are hanging in at very high levels, and expectations for crop size are associated with that.
What about crop progress, and how does it compare to other years?
Well, crop progress is doing quite well. One more thing I want to say about conditions is that in soybeans, are holding their own as well, 71% good to excellent. As far as progress, the silking on corn is 90% done. That's pretty much it's just about all done. That's a little bit ahead of average. Corn in the dough stage is moving along well. Soybeans in their pod filling stage are starting, and they are also ahead of average and ahead of last year. This is a big feature because we know that there were some areas that were a little bit late getting planted, but they've really come on quite well.
Are there any problems areas for corn and soybeans?
Well, I think that there are in the southwestern part of the Corn Belt when you get into portions of Kansas and then into parts of dryland areas of Nebraska, also into portions of the Dakotas and western Iowa. There are some areas where the dryness is maybe a little bit more extensive than others, but in general, when you have crop ratings that are into the 70s, good to excellent, you're not going to find a large area where there are problems.
What about wheat, the winter wheat crop as well as the spring wheat crop? How is the progress and conditions there?
Winter wheat harvest is moving along quite well, and it's going to continue that way. As far as spring wheat is concerned, the big number that I look at is how the condition rating is in North Dakota. 84% good to excellent. And South Dakota is also doing quite well, well into the 70s good to excellent. Minnesota has a little bit more of an issue, but with North Dakota being such a large spring wheat producer, that pretty well tells the scenario, tells the story of what's going to go on. And of course, the recent spring wheat tour had a similar assessment that things really are quite promising.
How about the harvest on the winter wheat crop?
Winter wheat crop is moving along well. It's well into the last quarter of harvest, and I don't think that there's anything really to slow it down, in kind of wrapping things up.
Lastly, it looks like a pretty wet week ahead for some areas. How's that going to affect the crops?
I think the one thing to look at is that is just late season soil moisture that brings things home. If everything pans out the way the forecast models are suggesting, you could see widespread 2+ inch rainfall totals over much of the western and into the central Corn Belt during the next week. If that happens, that's going to be a finishing rain, and that is something that is it's a real benefit as far as crops go this early in August to have that potential.
Thanks, Bryce.
You're welcome.
With Bryce Anderson, I'm Elaine Shein, and that's today's entry in the DTN Reporters Notebook. Thanks for joining us.
This has been the Reporters Notebook from the DTN Progressive Farmer Newsroom.